Welcome, Chef Mina. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And I was just saying that I need more bakery stuff in my life. Like I feel as if I don't write about or interview enough people on the bakery side. So really happy to have you here. How did you know that baking was your thing?
I started baking when I was about 10, my mom made my aunt's wedding cake, and I remember watching her make it and thinking to myself that I could do that too. I mean, I was 10, so it was kind of like I couldn't, but I thought in my mind that I definitely could do it. So that's how, like, I guess where I fell in love with baking is watching her do that cake. She baked my entire life. So I always have watched her and my aunts make desserts. So I was always interested in it, but it wasn't until like I became a teenager that I really decided that this is what I wanted to do with my life.
Very cool. My own daughter is getting super interested in baking, and I'm more of a home cook than a baker at all. Like I don't have like the patience, and it's kind of like a personality type thing maybe, but she is super into just creating these things, and cakes are frustrating. I mean, in the hands of a 12-year-old, cakes can go horribly wrong. They still taste good though. So
Yes.
that's the good thing.
Cakes are definitely frustrating. I mean, I would love them. That's my favorite thing to do is make cakes. Um, but they are tricky. It took me a very long time to get to this point. I mean, been baking professionally as a pastry chef for 18 years. It started when I was 15.
Cool.
So it takes a lot to get to this point. Like a lot of people are like, oh, like how you do that so easily. Like when I'm making flowers here or something, everyone's like, oh, you do that so easy. I'm like, I've been doing this forever. Like this is almost more than half of my life I've been doing this for.
Absolutely. It is. It's the practice and it's the
Yeah.
hours that you put in. That's awesome.
Mhm.
So tell us about working at Wegmans. That is a supermarket chain that's like in mostly New York State, I think, but I have I've gone to it a couple times and I love it. It's a great store. So how that was that your first job in the like in the industry?
That was my first job. I started working at Wegmans when I was 15. So I was going to pastry school. And so I did like a pastry program at my school.
Mm,
It was like at a separate location. And then I also worked at Wegmans too. So I went to Wegmans and I started there when I was 15. And then you can't work in the bakery department or anything when you're 15. So I started off a cashier and I like really, really wanted to work in the bakery department. So finally, when I turned 18, I was able to go into the baking. I think I transferred over there when I was 18 or 19. I transferred in the baking. I loved it. I learned so much. It's different now the way that they do it because I have friends that still work at Wegmans, but like I was making bagels, I was decorating cakes, like I was doing most like bakery aspect things there, and I learned little bits, and I loved it.
that's cool. And that's got to be the best way to learn is by doing for something like that.
Yes, I learned production there, like
Mm,
how to do things quickly and efficiently. And Wegmans, they have a standard, and you have to make the
mm.
cakes look exactly the same. You shouldn't be able to tell if a different cake decorator made the cake.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you had certain time you had to get it done,
Mm,
and you had like a certain amount of flowers and how it should look. And that just taught me like how to be able to like get things done as quick as
yeah.
possible and efficiently.
That's cool, right, as opposed to just baking for fun and just, like, doing your own thing, it's like, this is serious business. So,
Yes.
though, what are some other have so those skills have obviously, carried over to what you're doing now, like, how is it what's your sort of day-to-day now that you're with your current job?
So, day to day now, it's a lot of cookie making, brownies. I do a lot of cupcakes, which I did at Wegmans. So cupcakes, like it takes some people a long time to ice cupcakes. I fly through them.
Nice.
Like I think they timed me one day. It took me 7 minutes to ice 300 of them.
What?
So it's just like it's just like I
Oh
just like
my
get
gosh.
through them.
See, I would have 1 in 7 minutes, I think, and there would be lots of swearing.
I know I try to teach some of the people here how to ice cupcakes. So if I'm not here, they know how to do it. And
Yeah.
like the girls, they try so hard. They're like, it doesn't look like yours. I'm like, but you can't think. You can't think. You just gotta go. It's just hand motion.
Right,
So
you've gotta become
yeah,
like a machine. That's
yes,
super cool.
basically.
So is it like and I don't even know the right terminology for this stuff. This shows how much I don't know about baking, but it's like the squeeze,
The
sleeve.
pastry bag?
Yeah, is the
Yes.
pastry bag, that's the
Yeah.
one. So, is that what you use to do
Yeah.
that? Cool. And that's yeah, that's a a thing in and of itself, because I know that my daughter struggles with it. It's like you're filling it up and yeah,
And
that's
then it falls out the end. It's beginners. Beginners do that. You always see it. I still drip out the end depending on what it is. If I put something
nice.
that's too hot in there, I'll drip out the end. But it's when you get a hang of it, like I can literally let the frosting kind of hang out of the bag and none of it will drip out. I
Right.
don't know how I can do it, but I
Like,
don't know. I
don't
managed
try
it
this
over
at
years.
home.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't copy what I do.
Right. Well, that's because you're just so comfortable with it and
Mhm.
you've done it so many times, and that's just kind of the. So in the baking world, what are some things that you're excited about pastry wise, like some new trends that you're looking to maybe bring onto your campus this year?
So there's a couple of new things that I really want to try. There's these cream puffs and I can't remember the name of it, but you make like this little disc out of sugar and then
Mhm.
you put it on top of the cream puff and you bake it and it's like you color them different colors and like that you can flavor them too. So the cream puff will, instead of having like a chocolate glaze on it like it normally does, it has like this like crunchy, like crinkly,
Ooh.
sugary thing on top of it. It's really, really pretty. And
I
I love those. I can't remember. It's like something obviously shoe, but what it's called, but
because
it's like so cool.
yeah, so when you say when you see shoe,
Mhm.
CHOUX, right?
Yeah.
That means cream puff or
Yeah. So it's the cream puff like dough, I guess.
but okay,
Is it batter or dough? It's like in between a batter and a dough.
gotcha. And what about on the savory side? Have you ever made gougères?
No, so I have done a lot of savory. I'm more sweet, but I like to over the years, I want to say over the past like 6 years, I started trying to incorporate more savory dishes. I also like doing sweet and savory. So I used to own a bakery and I used to do these maple bacon cupcakes. So it was a maple cupcake and I'd candy the bacon and I would do like a maple frosting on it and then like a cream cheese filling. So you had that salty and the sweet. Oh, it was so good.
Yes, the salty and sweet is kind of it's sort of like a trend that we saw, but it's enduring because it's a good trend. It's like something like, oh, yum, like salted
Yeah.
caramel. Who's gonna say that that's not cool anymore? I think it
Yeah.
is cool.
It's so good. It's so good.
Definitely. And what about the cake? I wanted to ask you about it's and I should be able to pronounce it because I did take French in high school, but it's like the mu. It's like Mille and then Feu, and it's many crepes stacked on each other, and they have like there's cream in between.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I have never tried that before.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not explaining it the best, so this for sure. What is something that's been a challenge for you, or sort of like something that you chase after that's like you're always trying to like perfect it, or something that what's just a really tough project that you've worked on?
Something that's really tough, and I've recently started learning it, is sugar. So sugar is kind of like an older thing, not too many people do it now,
Oh,
but sugar work is really, really hard because you have to get you. Okay, so when you pull sugar and you're making designs out of sugar, you have to do it quickly, and you also have to be careful that you don't burn yourself. You want to do it quick enough so that way you can sculpt it, but you also don't want to burn yourself while you're doing it.
yeah.
And there's a lot of heat and blow torches and burns involved in doing sugar, but I've been trying to teach myself how to do it because it's something that I like want to know how to do because I want to be well versed in everything
Yeah,
pastry. And I feel like that is like the next step for me is doing sugar work.
that's cool. And then what's the end result? Like, what do you get when you like? What are some of the things that you make with the sugar work?
So with sugar, you can pretty much make anything. I started off one of my friends, he's a sugar artist, and he taught me how to make flower petals, which
Ooh,
it seems like it would be really easy, but it's not because you have to pull it and it's tough. And if it cools down too fast, it'll just crack and it won't look good. So
okay.
I've been trying to like learn how to do that, but I want to eventually like you can learn how to do like waterfalls with it. You can do blown sugar, so you can make like balloons and bubbles with it,
I was
just like
gonna
a
say
whole
it
bunch of
sounds
different things.
yeah, it sounds sort of akin to like glass blowing, the way that it's
Yes.
hot and you have to work quickly with it. There's so much
Yeah.
art that's involved with it too. I mean,
Yes.
there's an artistic side for it. Do you consider yourself to have a really big artistic side? I would think you would have to.
I do. It's really funny because when I was little, I think my dad still has it. When I was little, you write what you want to be when you grow up.
Mhm.
And my dream job was to be an art teacher and work in a chocolate factory. So like I mashed the two together essentially when I became an adult and was like,
That's so
oh, this is why I wanted to do both. But I always loved art ever since I was a little girl.
nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Like when you see sort of, or if you find some old thing that your parents have saved and it kind of is like,
Mhm.
oh, that's I always was into this. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Definitely. So you also appeared on the Food Network. And I
Yes.
like to get people's like kind of behind the scenes because everybody's curious. Like, what is that like? Like, can you tell us about that experience? Right.
So I've done 3 shows so far. I'm on my 4th show that airs July 18th.
Ooh.
The first 3 shows I was competing in, and this last show that I just did, I was a judge.
Oh, nice.
So the first 3, so I was on Bakers versus Bakers. I was on Girl Scout Cookie Championship, and then I recently was on Holiday Wars. So Holiday Wars is a competition series, so you're on multiple episodes, and you're also teamed up with people you do not know at all.
Okay.
In the first 2, I was solo on those ones, and then this last one, I'm a judge on Buddy versus Duff.
Fun.
So it's all really cool and exciting.
Definitely. And I've judged some cooking competitions before too. And I think it's kind of hard. It's a lot of pressure to be the judge because it is subjective and
Mhm.
you have like a criteria that you're looking at for sure.
Yes. Well, like the shows that I was on, I there was one show that I was on that I was like absolutely hands down, I should have won that one. But I understand where the judges were coming from, even though I felt like no, I should have won it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand because after judging this last show, like I got it, no matter how good it is, like, the other person may have just like taken it up a little bit
Right.
more than the other one. So I got it.
Right. And I think I saw a little bit of the Holiday Wars, or at least I remember,
Yes.
was the Pioneer woman on that? Re
No, no, no. So there was Shinmin. She's like in all of like the baking
Yeah.
wars episode shows. I had Shinmin and Aaron. Aaron is a research, like a bakery research
Oh,
person for Buddy in his warehouse.
that's cool. And is so but and I yeah, I haven't watched a whole bunch of this. Is Buddy is the cake guy or is
Yeah, he's the cake boss.
cake boss. Okay, that's
Yeah.
right.
And
Very
then Duff, he's the ace of cakes. He was in Maryland and now
yeah,
he's out in, I think, Vegas or LA.
yeah, okay. I bought I think one of Duff's cake kits and it was like
Okay.
it was a bright blue thing. I think it was blue
Mhm.
velvet and that was really fun, but it tasted really good too. So I was like,
Yeah.
this is awesome. And like I said, now that my daughter is more into it, we are not buying the mixes anymore. She's like, no,
Mhm.
doing everything. She made marshmallows by hand the other day, which
Yes, those are so fun.
that takes a candy thermometer, which we
Yeah.
don't. I have a meat thermometer. And then
Uh-huh.
she and my mom, her grandma, they managed to drop my meat thermometer into the hot corn syrup. And they were covering it up. They're like, oh no, nothing happened to your thermometer. I'm like, that's my good meat thermometer. Is
Mhm.
a candy thermometer different than a meat thermometer? Is it more sensitive or
It is and it isn't. I use a meat thermometer here. I do have a candy thermometer. I just find them very annoying because you're reading it, like it's
yeah,
the what is it, the mercury inside of it. You're reading it and you're watching it go up versus you can just put there's less of a chance with the burn with a candy thermometer than there is a meat thermometer.
that yeah, that
Basically,
sounds
because it's really sugar is really, really hot. Like
oh
you
yeah,
get burned super, super easy with sugar. So that's why
it's
I
crazy.
feel like that's why I use candy thermometer. That's my
Yeah.
take on it.
That makes a lot of sense,
Mhm.
definitely. So, as this year kind of goes on, it's like I can't believe we're already like in summer. It's happening. What are some of your plans for the future? Or things that we can watch for you to be working on or introducing?
For the fall, I really want to, I mean, you're going to definitely see me doing way more cakes. The we have some clients here who have been loving me making cakes for them, so I'll be doing more cakes for our catering,
Awesome.
and I'll be doing desserts for a couple of dining halls as well. So I'm really, really excited for it, and I want to bring new trends because our age group here, like they're in their early 20s and they're I feel like early 20 somethings, they are very trendy, and I always try to keep to
Yeah.
be very trendy. So I want to do things that like they're going to like and that they see on Instagram and
Right.
YouTube. I want to keep up with that.
Right. It's the things, it's, yeah, this new, like, you want things that are photogenic and that you can just
Yes.
be like, here's this cool thing. And then it's also a treat. And then you get to post it after
Yes.
take the picture before you eat it. Very fun.
Yes.
So cool. All right. Well, we are definitely going to be watching you and keeping an eye on you to see what happens. And just so happy to know you. Thank you so much for taking the time today. And I will let you get back to the bakery.
Thank you so much. It was very nice to meet you.